So you should see that pop up on your screens. And all of this will be available on our OK Be My YouTube channel later, possibly tonight, but probably by next week for sure. And I'll send out a quick email to everyone to let you know where it is, the link, and how you can access it. If you are in a classroom and you have students, nothing that we talk about today is prohibited from students. They can listen in, so don't worry about that if you have extra ears in your audience today. So without anything else, I think we'll go ahead and get started. We do have a few more people joining us, so be patient with me as I let people into the waiting room from time to time. Okay, so if you are here, you are in the How to BPA All Day, August through May training. And so we'll do updates at the very beginning. I know that's why some of you are here, is for any updates that we might have. And then after we get through updates, then I will go through kind of our suggestions for what you can be doing each month throughout the BPA year, and kind of what you can do to also overachieve each month with your BPA chapter. Okay, and we are already recording, so we're good to go there. Okay, so thinking about the title of this session, we all know that a successful BPA experience is 365 days a year, and we all know that hashtag BPA 365 and that initiative from Nationals. But this training today is just focused on the school year, so and what you can be doing in your classes throughout August all the way to May. Okay, so some upcoming Oklahoma BPA important dates. These are all on your important dates calendar from the Be My office. So just take note of these. FLC registration is due on September 10th at midnight. That's when the registration system will close. Just a reminder that your students who attend fall do not have to be members in the system. They can if you want them to be, but it's not required for fall leadership attendance that they're members. So don't worry about that. We do that for recruitment, and also knowing that it's a short turnaround for you to get your members input into the system by September 10th. Don't forget about Oklahoma City Dodgers Day on September 21st. That is going to be a 9:30 arrival time with a 9:45 career talk and a game at noon. So tickets for that are $13, and that includes the career talk and the game, and I believe a baseball hat. You can find more information on that on our website, along with the contact Alexa Majors if you would like to pay in some other form other than a credit card, and the link that's provided. She can take POs and things like that. Trading pin designs are due on September 30th. So submit those to me. There's information on the FLC page of our website on how to submit those, the file formats that they need to be in, and the process that goes through. Chain of Love submissions are due on October 8th. That is also on our FLC website on who to submit those to and the process. We will award our top 3 Chain of Love donators at Fall Leadership Conference. They'll receive some awards on stage. And then all of that money goes to Special Olympics Oklahoma. FLC is October 18th in Norman from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. If you haven't looked at our newly updated schedule for Fall Leadership Conference this year, it is on the Oklahoma BPA website. This Fall Leadership Conference is going to look a little bit different than it has in the past. So be sure to check out that schedule. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and continue letting people into the waiting room, but I wanted to show you, if you haven't seen it already, our FLC promo video. Okay, and that is available on our Oklahoma Be My YouTube channel, and you can show that to your students. You can have your students show it to anyone else. If you want to use it for recruitment and things like that, it's all there. It's also located on the FLC page of the Oklahoma BPA website, so it is there for you to view. Okay, so let's check in. If you have logged into the membership site, will you please put a 1 in the chat if you have logged into your chapter membership site? Awesome. And looking at how many direct messages I'm getting, I'm guessing that the chat is still set to our very secure features that we had on our last Zoom call. So don't mind that you're not seeing anyone's. I'm seeing everyone's answers. And a reminder to always check your Zoom settings. Okay, perfect. So I see a lot of people that have logged in. Remember, if you have not logged in, if you can't log in, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, send me an email and we will get you all set up with your membership system and all of that. Don't forget, I linked it in the email I sent out today. It's also in Monday Madness, that this year you do have to graduate and roll forward your students within the site to start the new year. It's a little bit of a different process than we're used to. So be sure to watch that tutorial video. And again, that's in Monday Madness and in the email that I sent today. And if you can't find it, email me and I'll send you the link. Okay, have you checked out the BPA Gateway? This one's a little bit more of a next step kind of thing. If you have checked out the BPA Gateway, send me a 2 in the chat, please. If you have checked out the membership gateway, send me a 2. Okay, great. As soon as you and your students are members, you will get access to the BPA Gateway. That's where you will find all of the downloads that BPA will be sending out, like the WASP guide tomorrow. The theme artwork will be there, things like that. So make sure that you have checked it out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, send me an email and I'll get you in the right direction. Okay, and then the biggest one, if you have talked to your students about BPA, throw a 3 in the chat. If you have talked to your students about, oh good, I'm seeing so many 3s. That's awesome. Perfect. If you've talked to your students, throw a 3 in the chat. Wonderful. Don't forget that we have our 2 brand new Oklahoma BPA videos that you can show. We have the What is Oklahoma BPA video. It's short. There's some fun music to it. It just kind of talks about what BPA is, what a CTSO is, how we relate to the other CTSOs in Oklahoma, and that sort of thing. And then we also have our promo video for the year that you can show students that might help talking about BPA. Okay, and then the big one, have you registered members? You can put a 4 in the chat if you have actually submitted members. And that's okay. You're not behind if you haven't done that. We'll have people doing that all the way up until SLC registration in January. So don't worry about that. Once you do register your members, you will have access to all of our practice tests on the DLG Answer Right testing site. This is a service that we're providing with your dues. It's no additional cost to you and your students. They can take as many tests as they want on the same platform that we test for SLC. So it's a great way to practice. We still have the CTU resources, so you can access those. You as an advisor can access those even if you haven't registered students yet. Okay, and then who plans to go to FLC? And so very last question, put a 5 in the chat if you're planning to go to FLC this year. Oh, wonderful, love to see it. Awesome. Okay, it looks like I'm gonna be seeing a lot of you at FLC. That's fantastic. Right now, we are still planning in person. We will have some videos that people can watch afterwards. But right now, we are not planning a hybrid or virtual conference, but I will keep you guys updated if we do have to switch to our backup plans. Okay, just a reminder, here's my email address and my office phone number if you need it. Again, this will be recorded, but if you need to take a screenshot or something, go ahead. But I am here to help you. That's my job. I love helping you all solve problems and making sure that your chapters are thriving in every way possible. So please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions or concerns. Okay, updates. If you did not see it yesterday on social media, know that the 2021-2022 National BPA theme has finally been released. I know I've been getting a lot of emails about this, and they released it yesterday. This theme is special because it was inspired by a student who is now attending Tulsa Technology Center. And they were at Jinx High School, Tulsa Technology Center before. So that's really awesome. And then our national officer, Nathan Slater, prepared the kind of graphic that was sent out on social media. So he didn't create the logo, but he prepared the video that released it. So awesome job there to all of our Oklahoma students who helped make this possible. Know that the national competitive events, the WSAP, will be released by tomorrow. I would be checking on the source, emails from BPA, that sort of thing. If I see it released, then I will send you all an email as well. We'll link that on our Oklahoma BPA website, and you'll also be able to find it on the membership gateway. The Oklahoma WSAP, which will include all of the pre-submit deadlines and things like that. We never change topics. It'll just be some competitive events guidelines, when to submit it, where to submit it, that sort of thing. That'll come out on October 1st, and we have an awesome team who will be working on that. And then our national BPA is mailing out posters this year. So I know those of you who have been asking for posters, that poster will be available for download on the membership gateway, but they're also sending you a printed version, is my understanding. So be watching for that. Again, make sure that your mailing addresses in the membership system are correct. That'll help with some returns and things like that and a delay on your poster. And then Oklahoma BPA will be mailing out some chapter packets to you all this week. We have some partners who have included some things for you all. We'll also be including some goodies on for our BPA store and things like that. So watch for that. We'll probably be mailing those out next week with how this week is going. So look for those in your mailboxes at school. Okay, another big update, Oklahoma BPA's new calendar. So this is a calendar, it's similar to the important dates, but it's just in a different format. And it's at the footer of the Oklahoma BPA website. So you can check that out anytime. If I add something to it, it shows up automatically, that sort of thing. So if you are printing it out, be sure to check and make sure that we haven't added anything. You'll usually get an email if I add something to the calendar, but just know if you do print it out, it might not stay as accurate as it is online. Okay, the Curriculum Integration Committee. So this is something we're going to be working hard on this year. I have asked for volunteers to assist with this, and if you would like to help make BPA a little more co-curricular for our Oklahoma teachers, we're going to be taking all of our BITE courses and looking at how we can integrate BPA into those, give some examples, provide activities that other people are doing, and then look at possibly some BPA curriculum that can go into that as well, just to help make integrating BPA into your classes smooth and easy, especially for our new teachers who are a little bit overwhelmed sometimes when they first start. So if you would like to help with and be on our curriculum integration committee, please email me, let me know, and I will get you the information. If you already signed up for it in our end of the year survey, you don't have to send me an email. I will be contacting you. Okay, practice tests. Once you submit your membership, they don't have to be paid yet, but once you hit the submit membership button, then your students will have access to the practice tests. They're going to be open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. The only reason that they're not open 24/7 is in case something does go wrong and I need to reset a test. That way you're not expecting me to reset a test at 5 o'clock on a Saturday or something like that. So Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. students can take as many tests as they want once they are members. And you can email me for the password and I'll be sending that out after we talk about it today. The link for this is in our advisor quick links. So be sure to check there for the link and your students can go there as well. Okay, so that concludes all of our updates. So if you were just here for updates, that is all that I have for you on updates. Be checking your emails. You'll be getting kind of those lengthy emails from time to time with all of that's going on with Oklahoma BPA. Now we're going to dig into our monthly to-do list. This is a similar monthly to-do list that you can find on ctu.org that has been around for a while. So if you like CTU's version of this, then it's similar to what I'm presenting. Okay, so don't forget that we do have our brand new STAR chapter program this year, and this is going to run from SLC 2021 to SLC 2022. So that's kind of the parameters for which we'll be accepting applications and events and things like that that were completed. There's more information in a full-size flyer that you can download on our website under resources. So you can just go to the Star Chapter Program tab, download the flyer. We also have some sample activities on that page as well for some of those things that might be hard to explain, like the additional Oklahoma BPA event. That could be the Dodgers Day, Be My Day at the Capitol, things like that. So if you do have questions, let me know. But I encourage you all to take a look at this now, because some of these things like donate to Chain of Love, that happens at FLC. So you don't want to miss it and then miss out completely on earning whatever level you are working towards. We do know that we will have to make some exceptions due to last year being virtual and some of the events being canceled or reimagined. So we'll be making those adjustments as we get closer to that submission window, and you'll know on the form where you can say, well, I couldn't attend this because it was virtual or it was canceled or my school prohibited me from this. So we'll make those adjustments this year, knowing that last year was a little bit different. Okay, so August. So, and obviously we've passed this. If you have not done some of these things, that's okay. We're still in September. You can catch up. So before school starts, you're going to want to make sure that you have structured how you're going to be handling your chapter dues and finances. Make sure you check with your school on how they want you to handle it. Some schools won't want you to charge dues to your students. Some schools will let you have a universal lab fee, that kind of thing. So check and see what you can do, and then have a plan for how you're going to balance that. Are you going to, if you have an affiliation fee, are you going to be splitting it among how many students you have so that every member is a BPA, every student is a BPA member, and then they're paying the difference to make up for that? Are you just selecting 20 students? Think about how you're going to be processing that. If you are new to your school, make sure you don't have any financial holds. And so you won't be able to log into the membership account if you have a financial hold. I am happy to report that Oklahoma BPA does not have any outstanding balances. So if you have a financial hold, you just need to contact Nationals. It probably has something to do with your membership invoice or NLC invoice from this past year. Once school starts, make sure you're introducing BPA to your students. From all of the check-ins earlier, I think that a lot of you have done that, so that's a great sign. And then you can always plan a fun activity to get your students excited about BPA. Right when school's starting, it's a good way to introduce your classes and start the school year. Okay, so if you want to be an overachiever in August, if you haven't already, you can elect officers right when school gets started. That will help you get your year off to a great start in a quick fashion. You can plan a Remember recruitment drive that can look however your community looks. So if it's a barbecue or a scavenger hunt, or if maybe it's a lunch meeting, or whatever you can do that is best for your students. So plan that to be really specific to your chapter so that you can recruit as many students as possible. You can also use FLC as a recruitment tool. That's why we don't require the students to be members. Okay, start planning ahead for FLC if you're attending that, and then start working on your chapter's program of work. We'll talk about what a program of work is more specifically, but think of it as your chapter's schedule and plan for the year. It's your goals in a calendar format sort of way. Make sure you read the local chapter handbook. That can be found in the membership system under resources. We've also linked it under the advisor quick link section, so you can find it there. And then if you're a super overachiever and your school will allow it, you can set up your chapter's social media presence online. If you do, be sure to follow Oklahoma BPA and tag us so that we can start promoting what you're doing in your chapter. Okay, so for September, start collecting your membership dues, submit your membership to National BPA. So that's where we are right now. And it's pretty busy with membership. I have people who are getting into the system, inputting their students. If you are using an affiliation fee and say you only have 15 students right now, that's fine. Go ahead and put them into the system. If you have 5 later to finish out your 20, we can work with Nationals to fit those back into that remaining portion of your invoice. Elect your officers. If you are starting fresh and you're not coming in with an officer team, they've never had an officer team with your chapter, try electing a president, vice president, and secretary first. And then after your first year and once you get started, you can add more after that. So you have some flexibility there. Start talking to your students about FLC ahead of the registration deadline to see who's available and who wants to attend. And so you can get all of that in order. register for FLC, plan for a sub, arrange travel, all of that. So make sure you're following your school guidelines there. As far as POs and things like that, if you have questions about how we handle those and if you need help with that and dealing with your finance department, just email me. Every school is different, so we can help you figure out what will work best. We work with schools all the time, so we try to be really flexible because we know sometimes you cannot be flexible. I am seeing a question in chat and I don't want it to disappear. So where can you find the code of conduct and statement of assurance? They're on our advisor quick link section. They're the second and third boxes on that page. So you can download those forms there. The code of conduct is for the students to fill out, and the statement of assurance is for you to fill out saying your students filled out the code of conduct. And then you'll turn in the statement of assurance, and then you keep the code of conducts. Don't turn those into our office. Okay. Let's see, hold a meeting or two depending on your needs. You might need just your regular monthly meeting. You might need to have a meeting to plan for FLC, that sort of thing. So just make sure you're trying to meet monthly at least. Create your program of work. You're going to want to work on that in the beginning months of the year. And then we just talked about the code of conduct. Students sign the code of conduct. You keep those. You turn in the statement of assurance saying that your students signed the code of conduct. Send those statements of assurance to Pam Porter prior to FLC. Okay. And if you want to be an overachiever in September, National BPA sometimes puts out webinars in September on their websites and on the membership gateway. You can watch those. Those range from things like what is BPA, what is the Torch program, things like that. So that may be something that you and students can watch to help familiarize yourself with everything BPA has going on. The National WASP has been released, so that's really awesome. So you can be starting to look at that. Like I said, we don't ever change the topics in Oklahoma, so everything that you're seeing there in the structure of the event will stay the same. What we will do is add pre-submit deadlines, add naming topics and or naming formats and things like that specific to Oklahoma State Leadership Conference. You can request a state officer chapter visit. We've already had several state officers go visit chapters, both virtually and in person so far, and we have several on our calendar. So if you're interested in that, there is a link. Again, it's under the resources page on the Oklahoma BPA website, and you can fill that form out, request a state officer. It is first come, first serve as far as what's available on their calendar. But again, we can do virtual and in person. So just let me know. You can start fundraising. Make sure you check your school guidelines on fundraising. Some schools will have you get your fundraisers board approved. Some don't care. So just make sure you know your school's policies on that. But I encourage you to start fundraising early. Sign up for the source. I do have that link and I'll put that in the chat a little bit later. Towards the end of this, I have several links I can share with you guys so you can find them. The source is National BPA's email newsletter. So just make sure that you sign up for that. And you can be apprised of what's going on. They'll send out probably, hey, we've released the theme. Here's the link, that sort of thing. Make sure you download the National Membership Theme artwork. I know that it's available to state advisors on the member gateway. As of this morning, I didn't see it under chapter advisors. So I'm hoping that that will change by tomorrow and that you all will be able to download that artwork. If not, we'll be getting it out on our website so that you guys can easily access it and get to it without any delay. Okay, make sure you sign up to take the advisor and student certification series when those are released from National BPA. There is a question in chat about when those will start. I have not been told that by National BPA yet, but expect those this fall. And those are kind of just what is BPA, and it takes you through every opportunity that BPA offers. And then you can get recognized at a national level if you have completed those. Okay, I also have a question in the chat. Do we sign up for the source or is it auto-delivered when you register? You do have to sign up. And like I said, I'll put that link in the chat towards the end of this. And I can email it out to everyone too, so that people who are not here have it. Great question. If you have questions, keep them coming. Okay, so in October, you're gonna wanna attend FLC. Again, that's on October 18th. It's a Monday this year, from 8 to 2:30. Finish submitting your membership, work with your finance office to send in your payment. Membership dues go to National BPA. Okay, so membership dues and checks go to National BPA. The only thing you will pay Oklahoma BPA for is for Fall Leadership Conference and State Leadership Conference. So even your state membership dues go to nationals. So again, membership dues go to National BPA. And yes, the slide will be linked so that you guys can find it on our website. Okay, make sure you hold your October meeting. You want to make sure you're meeting monthly. Start discussing competition and torch awards. In October, we'll have the Oklahoma WASP guides out, so you can start setting your own deadlines in your local chapter. You can start discussing competition with your students. Some advisors will tell their students what they should compete in or what areas they should compete in. Some advisors let them look at the whole book and decide what they want to compete in. We leave that up to you. So how you manage competitions is up to you. You can tailor them to what you're teaching, or you can let the students have free range and participate in whatever they want. Start participating in National BPA programming and offerings. Last year, BPA offered a fall leadership virtual summit for members. It was held on a Saturday. It was completely virtual, and it was fairly low cost. So I'm thinking that they're going to be providing that again. I do not know the dates for it yet, but again, be watching the source in the BPA website. I'll also promote it when I find out. And that would be something great for your students to participate in. Last year, they did record them and people could go back and watch them. But I know that it was really fun to be interactive on that day. We had several state officers and members who did that, and they got a lot out of it. Okay, and then continue to work through your program of work. Again, we'll talk more about program of work, but it really just maps out your year. Okay, so if you're overachieving in October, you can start looking into the BPA Cares program. We do have links on our Oklahoma BPA website, but it all links over to nationals. So on the National BPA website, you can find the BPA Cares program and all that it entails. If you meet our state deadline for completing that, we'll recognize you at state, and then you'll also get recognized at nationals. So it's one more way that your chapter can be recognized for doing things that you might already be doing. They're not as hard as you might think they are to apply for and to receive. So look into those. There's several different options there. Okay, so start planning competitions with your interested members. The earlier you plan, the easier SLC is going to be. You might host a community event in October. A lot of people will do trunk or treats or things like that and have their BPA chapters get out there in the community and get BPA's name known. So October might be a good time to do that. If it's an election year, plan ahead and hold mock elections to gain a lot of torch points. We add this one in here because patriotism is the hardest category to receive torch points in, it seems like. So if it is an election year, there are a lot of torch award category points that can be made. So if you plan ahead, so just keep that in mind. You might talk to your students about running for state office. We will have a running for state office workshop at FLC this year. So if they are interested, they can attend that. The application will be available at that time, and they are due on December 1st. Make arrangements to attend the Oklahoma BPA Advisor Bootcamp. That is in November this year. With plans of it being in person, we'll probably also offer some virtual options, just because we know that sometimes it's hard for you to get out of the classroom and that sort of thing. So we will try to provide as many resources for that as we can. And that's one day information for advisors and things like that. And last year we provided some mingling time so that you could get together with other advisors and chat about what's going on in your school and your chapter. Okay, so for November, you're going to want to attend the Oklahoma BPA Advisor Bootcamp if you can, whether you watch it virtually and partake in those or attend in person. Make sure you fill out the application if running a state officer. It is a lengthy application. It's about 30 pages. So it's not for an overnight kind of thing. You have to have administrator signatures, parent signatures, that sort of thing. So if you have a student who's interested in that, just make sure that they're planning ahead to get that filled out completely and submitted on time. Start working on torch with students. So that's things that they're doing all the time. The new system will allow them to easily add things throughout the year so that they don't have to complete that right before the deadline all at once. So they can be adding, I said the Pledge of Allegiance at this chapter meeting. They can add that to their torch application and that sort of thing as it's happening so that it's a little bit easier on them and on you. You can work with your students on the WSAP competitions. Again, earlier practice helps make SLC a little bit easier. Don't forget to host your meeting in November. And then if you have plans to attend state leadership conference and you will be testing students, which is for a lot of the competitions, you're going to want to sign your testing liaison up on our Oklahoma BPA website. This must be filled out every year so that we're sending the passwords to the correct person. So if you go to our resources page, you can scroll down that list. I think it's the very last item on that menu bar, and it'll say testing liaison form. You can fill that out. That will tell me who to send your testing passwords to you. This year, it's my hope that we return to a normal testing schedule where the students are not testing by themselves at home, where they will be supervised by a testing liaison. So you will not be the one overseeing that. We'll need someone, a counselor, another teacher at your school. It just can't be you as the advisor. So keep that in mind. You'll get emails about that too. Okay, I am seeing a question about 412 reports. I can send those to Pamela Porter, and she can accept those. Send them to anyone in the office, though. We will forward them on to Pam. Okay, if you're overachieving in November, you might start planning your social event for the holiday season or any community service activities you might be doing for the holidays. Again, that might help with BPA Cares and Torch, and it's always just a good thing to do with your BPA chapter to help the community. Make sure you're signing into CTU and you can download those practice tests. Those are going to be downloadable. They're a little bit different than the practice tests that are on the DLG Answer Right system. So you can download those. They're printable. You can work with those with your students and that sort of thing. The ones on the DLG Answer Right system that you get with your membership are multiple choice tests that the students can take on the platform and get an instant score. They don't have to be graded or anything like that. Okay, continue working on your BPA cares so you can meet those deadlines for state and national BPA. And then if you're really overachieving, if you want to plan a multi-chapter event, we've done a few of these and they're always a lot of fun. And you can invite the state executive council to do a Q&A or a panel about running for office and that sort of thing. Keep in mind that the deadline is December 1st for those applications to be turned in. Okay, so for December, if you're submitting a state officer application, those are due December 1st with the screening a couple weeks later. Plan out competitions and practice times and things like that. Make sure you hold your meeting and or a social that month. Start planning logistics for SLC. January is crazy as far as conference planning. So if you start thinking about travel, substitute plans and things like that in December, you might be a little less stressed in January and February right before SLC. Okay, and then let students take practice tests through DLG and CTU. If you're overachieving in December, you can submit your BPA Cares applications early, get them out of the way so that you're not dealing with competitions and submitting those. You can nominate your colleagues and students for our SLC BPA Recognition Awards. Those are things like our Advisor of the Year, Member of the Year, the Lifetime Achievement Award, those sorts of things. When the SLC page on our Oklahoma BPA website is live, those will also be linked there and those applications will be open. Okay, you might host an appreciation event for teachers during the holiday season or your advisory council. So that might be something fun for your chapter to do. And you can always participate in a community service project. Okay, in January, make sure you're submitting your SLC registration, schedule transportation and hotels. Be sure to look at the important dates and keep up with emails during this time. I'll be sending out more emails than I typically do during our SLC time period, just to remind you of deadlines, let you know of any adjustments we've made and that sort of thing. The important dates that's already released has when SLC registration opens, when it closes, when testing opens, when pre-submits are due, and all of that. So you can plan ahead as you need to. Those are also on our calendar that's at the footer of the website. Make sure you schedule times as needed to assist your students with competition. In some cases, your students might need extra time outside of class, so you might coordinate that with them if you're willing to do that. So make sure you're submitting your torch applications ahead of the deadline. And why do we say ahead of the deadline? That's because if you have corrections to, if your students have corrections to make, if you submit them ahead of the deadline, we will send back some feedback and they can correct them so that they don't lose points and can still receive that award. So it could be things like spelling, it could be a grammar mistake that we can't fix, it could be a question about dates or about what actually happened or if it fits in the category. We can send you feedback so that your students are still meeting all those torch application deadlines and things like that and can still get their award. So be sure to submit those a little bit ahead of time. Make sure you're fundraising for SLC if you need to. Follow your school guidelines always. And then again, you can let your students take the practice tests until the end of January. So those are open, I believe, until January 28th. They will close right before state testing starts. So those will not be open simultaneously, but we'll leave it open all of January so that your students can practice right before our state testing window opens. Okay, and then don't forget, even in all the craziness of conference planning, to hold your monthly meeting. Okay, if you're overachieving in January, you could always coordinate mock competition practices with people in your community, with your advisory council, special guests. That might give your students another opportunity to practice their competitive event outside of SLC. You can plan BPA week activities. BPA week is the second full week of February. So if you plan ahead in January or even December, then you can have that all mapped out for what you're going to do and how you'll promote BPA within your community and your school and to your other classes even. You can always nominate your colleagues and students for SLC awards. That deadline will be, I think, towards the end of January, early February. So keep apprised of that. They do have some letters of recommendation that are required with those. So it's also not something you can just do the night before. Okay, in February, you'll need to submit your pre-submitted events. You'll be wanting to check the Oklahoma WSAP guide to see which events are pre-submitted and things like that. If you look at our events at a glance from even this past year, you will be able to see which ones are typically pre-submitted events. We're not planning on changing any of those. So you can always get a head start there. Okay, test online, make sure your liaison was submitted. So I've sent them the password and the links. If it's a normal year this year, then you as the advisor will not be able to test your students and you will not receive any passwords or links to the testing system. So please make sure that you've submitted your liaison on the BPA website. Make sure you hold your meeting in February. Recognize BPA week. It's the second full week of February. National BPA and Oklahoma BPA will be giving you guys some activities you can do, suggestions on how to interact on social media, and activities that you can plan within your school and things like that. So be sure to do that. And then continue prepping for SLC. If you are an overachiever in February, you can host BPA week. We've had people who go to their city councils and get it declared by their city council. So that's always a fun photo op and story and experience for your students. Last year, we released some virtual opportunities that you could participate, like Jeopardy and things like that with your chapters. We have people who host community service events through this. They host things for their teachers. So if you need some ideas for BPA week, let me know and I can get you connected to some teachers who are doing a really great job there. Attend a civic meeting for torch points. We kind of touched on this in my last point, and you can declare it BPA week in your community. You can also research the state executive council candidates prior to conference so that your students know who to vote for. Those are always linked on our state leadership page. Okay, in March. So attend SLC, attend all of it. Don't just come to one day and then leave. Try to attend the whole thing so that your students are getting that experience. So opening session, competitive events, the award session, all of it has meaning and purpose. So attend that. And then after that, you can breathe because you've made it through the busiest part of the year, which is pretty much January through SLC. But after you're done doing that, you'll need to start planning for NLC if you're attending. So you'll want to make sure that you register for that, secure all of your logistics, finances, hotels that you might need, start fundraising. You might need to start fundraising a little bit early, depending on your school's guidelines and things like that. The good news is NLC is in Dallas this year, so it will be a little bit cheaper for us in Oklahoma, as we won't have as many plane tickets and things like that. Make note of all the national competition deadlines. They will have some pre-submit deadlines, some testing deadlines, things like that. So make sure you're making note of all of those and not missing them. It's always a shame when people have made it to nationals and then miss out on a deadline for their student ahead of the conference. So keep apprised of those. Make sure you hold your meeting in March. And then just make sure that you register for NLC as soon as you can, because sometimes the hotel spaces get a little tricky. This year, there's just 2 conference hotels. I don't know which one we're in yet, but I think we should be, obviously we'll be in either one of those. Okay, if you're overachieving in March, you can always send a press release to your local media team, alerting them of your conference experience at SLC. And if you're going on to NLC, let them know. It seems like we see a lot of those around March and April. You can plan for your chapter to attend BMITE Day at the Capitol. Right now, that is to be determined. The BMITE Teacher Association plans that. So as we get more information on that and the date and things like that, I can keep you all updated if BPA is doing anything. So just keep up with that. Start planning out tours and activities in NLC location. So again, it's in Dallas this year. So a lot of opportunities there to have some fun. Write thank you notes to those who assisted you during your conference prep. So did your advisory council help your students with their contests? You can write them a note. Anyone who helped you, because conference prep is crazy and you want to keep those volunteers for the next year too, right? And then you can always host a fun chapter function to celebrate completing state leadership conference. We're almost to the end of the year, don't worry. Okay, let's see. April, you can start practicing competitions, keep fundraising for NLC if that's needed. I'm hoping that we can do winter stipends again this year. We'll let you guys know as we get closer to that. Make sure you're holding a meeting in April, planning and preparing for NLC. And then if you are wanting your graduating seniors to have BPA cords, April's a good time to buy those from the BPA Mall. I have that link as well, because that's something we always get asked where those are. So order those early in April before they sell out, and so that there's not any risk of you not having those by graduation. Okay, if you're an overachiever in April, start planning to complete officer interviews. We recommend that chapters, if they can, elect officers in the spring so that you have a group of students who is there to help you get your year started in August. So if you can do that at your school and that's something you want to do, we encourage you to complete your officer interviews and elections prior to the school year ending, so they can be your team that starts August. Write a blog post about your year, submit it to be highlighted on Oklahoma BPA's website. We love highlighting and showcasing what our chapters are doing. It doesn't have to be really fancy or really long. You can just send me what you're doing in a couple of photos and I will get it posted on the website. You can also host or co-host with another group to have BPA showcase Teacher Appreciation Week and thank teachers for what they're doing. It's a great way to get BPA name out there in your school and to thank our teachers for all they do. Okay, in May, if you're attending NLC, you'll do that. That's the first or second week of May. I believe it's the 4th through the 7th. It's also on our calendar. Celebrate Teacher Appreciation Week. Host an end of the year chapter event. If you're electing officers, make sure you do your interviews and your elections and have that finalized. And then make sure you're tracking your chapter community service hours for the BMITE division. Okay, if you're an overachiever in May, you can have an officer installation ceremony. If you would like to invite a state officer to attend that and help you do that, we are more than willing to assist you in that. And then make sure that before you leave, you evaluate your past year and make notes before summer break. That way you don't have to remember things in August that happened this past year. So say you had a poor experience at an event due to some planning or something like that, you can always take those notes in May, and then you come back to those and can make those decisions the next year to rectify those situations. So we always encourage debriefing at the end of the year rather than trying to remember in August. Okay, so just a few little details now that we're finished with the calendar. Here's a list of all of our competition areas. So you can see that we have finance, business administration, management information systems, digital communication and design, management, marketing and communications, health administration, and then we also have our mid-level, which is the 900 events. So those are the things that you'll be seeing on the events at a glance and in the WSAP guide. Within those, we'll have several breakdowns of other competitions. But they're all broken down into those categories. Okay, so what indicates a quality chapter for Oklahoma BPA? So a designated chapter advisor. So if you're here, you're probably the designated chapter advisor. So you've completed that step. Make sure you've elected and appointed your local chapter officers, that you have paid and you are in good standing with national and state BPA. And then evidence that you've been doing student membership meetings. So make sure you have your secretary taking minutes and that you're saving those and keeping those filed away. And then make sure that you have your local program of work. I think we talked about that in the next slide. And then make sure that you are either attending FLC and or SLC. Obviously, I would love for you to attend both, but you are only required to attend one. Okay, so let's talk about your program of work. And it's a map of your chapter's year. It's an action plan for the year. It's goals. If you miss something that you set, it's not a huge deal. You're not going to be penalized for it or anything like that. Your program of work is purely just a way for you to map out what your chapter wants to do. You can categorize it by month. We do have some samples out on the advisor quick links section in our Oklahoma BPA website. So if you're curious as to what that looks like, I know we have one that you can fill out. We also have some that advisors have taken and done their own thing on. So it's completely up to you how you create it. But we do encourage you to complete it early prior to or around FLC time should be the very latest that you complete it. But it also helps keep you and your officers focused on those important goals that you want throughout the year. So again, if you miss something that you've planned out, no one's going to be asking you why or what happened. It's really just a plan for you. So map out if you're going to do a food drive in December, map out if you plan to go to SLC, that sort of thing, so that your students know what to expect and so that you have a list of goals as well. Okay, so don't forget that we will be providing in-person and virtual opportunities throughout the entire year, such as this. So we might have some more trainings if we need them. We'll be posting about those. The state officers are looking at doing some panels for students virtually, so those will be available as well. We also are still offering our resources. This is something that we started this year. It's on our BPA website, and it's under the information. Actually, it has its own tab, a virtual resources tab. It's free to access. You don't have to log in or anything like that. Students can get there 24/7. We'll also be adding to it the entire year. So there's things like the scavenger hunt there. I know some crosswords are coming in there, things they can do in class or at home if they're virtual, that sort of thing that help them learn about BPA. There's also some virtual backgrounds and some advisor resources there as well. Chapter visits, we talked briefly about those. If you are interested in having a state officer come to speak at one of your classes, there's a form to fill out on the website. You can also email me and I can help direct you to that form. Okay, in chapter planning, we talk about this every time I present, but if anyone needs one-on-one assistance with their chapter to help figure out where your chapter can go and thrive in the best way possible, if your chapter isn't big on competing and we want to look at community service projects for you and that sort of thing, I know that every chapter is different, every community is different. Let me know and I'm happy to help you plan that out. Okay, don't forget to follow us on social media. We're at Oklahoma BPA. And then again, there is our Oklahoma BPA website, which is bpaok.org. And just a reminder about Fall Leadership Conference. The deadline to register is September 10th. The deadline for hotels, if you do need one, the Embassy Suites deadline is the 27th of September. Trading pin designs are September 30th. The Chain of Love submission deadline is October 8th. Okay, so questions, you can either put them in chat or if you want to unmute, that would be fine too. And you can just ask questions. We have plenty of time, so don't feel like you have to hop off here because I'm finished talking. If you do need to go, feel free. I will put this all on YouTube later, but I'm here to answer any questions that you all have. Okay, so I'm seeing what is the national theme, and that is Go Beyond Your Limits. I can scroll back to that artwork in just a minute. It's also on all of the social media from National BPA and should be getting on the membership gateway pretty soon. How much are membership dues? They're $20 per person. So that if you're in secondary or post-secondary, that doesn't matter if you're a student or advisor. And then they are $16 per person for mid-level students and advisors. Just students, actually. Sorry, mid-level advisors are $20. Another reminder that if you are using your affiliation fee and you have both a high school chapter and a mid-level chapter, you do need to choose which chapter you want to use that for. It cannot be split. So you'll have to choose whether you want to use it for your mid-level students or your secondary students. Okay, and let me grab, I know I promised to put the source sign up link in here. So let me grab that and put that in chat for you. Okay, so I'm adding the sign up for the source, which is National BPA's newsletter, into chat. So you can do that. Ignore the old BPA logo. Don't worry, this one's current. So you can sign up there. You can get all of their information that they push out to advisors and that sort of thing. And then I know I also said that I would include the link to the graduation cords for seniors. I'll put that in chat here. Okay, so if you're interested in that, again, I do encourage you to do that prior to May, just because sometimes shipping may cause delays and that sort of thing, or they could potentially sell out. They sometimes will have those for sale at nationals, but if you're needing them in a quick turnaround, I wouldn't guarantee that be my spot to get them. Okay, any other questions, concerns, that sort of thing? Okay, I don't have any more questions in chat. Actually, I do have one more. The video will be, I can post the video as soon as we're finished here, it looks like, and I'll get it on YouTube. So by tomorrow, it'll be on YouTube on the OKB Mite channel. So you can check there, and then I'll send everyone through the BPA membership system. I'll send you the link and things like that so that you can access that, share it with anyone who wasn't here and that sort of thing. I will also post my slides on the BPA website. I'll link to those in the email so that you don't have to search for them on our website. Okay, well, I'll stick around until the last person leaves. So if you do have a question, I am here, but if not, then you're free to go. Thank you for joining us today. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful start to the school year, and I'll see hopefully most of you at Fall Leadership Conference.